awesome parents, parents to be, and all who work with kids. Can I just tell you how excited I am that you clicked on this video? Okay, so we have a hot take on a hot topic. Yes, teaching kingdom sexuality to kids. Okay. I know you must have seen this coming. We live in a pleasure-driven, highly sexualized culture. It's not so uncommon to find second graders on porn sites, so we're going to get into all of that. But first things first, let me just say, learning sexuality is a lifelong process. You can talk to some couples who've been married for a while and they're still discovering each other. So my objective today is to just share some thoughts, on how we might decide to approach teaching kingdom sexuality to our children across the various age groups. I'm not an expert. What I hear in my spirit, what I've learned is what I'm communicating to us today. Okay, so for 2 to 5 year olds, number one, we want to teach them how to correctly name and identify body parts so they're able to tell us what hurts and where someone is touching them. Number two, we must teach them about consent and respect. Yes, their body is a temple of the Lord, but they are still in control of that body and have a responsibility to take care of it. So talking to them about things like who gets to take them to the bathroom, who cannot take them to the bathroom, talking to them about, oh yeah, definitely it's good to talk about private and public areas, but the reality is any part of my body, any part of their body can become private as long as it feels uncomfortable to them. Oh yeah, my ear can be private to me if I don't want anybody touching or messing with it. So we must be mindful of that. Yes, it's also encouraged to talk about good touch or bad touch, but hey, what happens when the bad touch actually feels good? So we don't want to create confusion in that aspect. So we might consider using terms like okay to touch, not okay to touch. Number three, we want to encourage them. We want to help them learn self-control. A 2-year-old would always insist on having their way. But if we as parents fail to follow through on our commitments, and then we are unknowingly teaching that child also to easily give in to their desires. So for the 6 to 8 age group, it's important. Okay, let me say this. The power of anything at all is in darkness. So the power of a sexual predator is in the ignorance and naivety of that child. So we must teach them about their own bodies. We must teach them about, some situations that other people have fallen prey or fallen victims in such circumstances. We must teach them how to respond, what to say, what to do, our speech doesn't have to be overly sensualized. Of course, we need to talk to them about how babies are formed, but you might decide to focus on those private areas more as excretory parts of the excretory systems than on the reproductive system. But we must hammer it into them that whenever older people are their friends, there are just some boundaries, there are just some lines that must never ever be crossed. If that happens, mommy or daddy has to be aware of. Now for the 8 to 10-year-olds, this is that stage where we want to prepare them for what's to come. A girl shouldn't be surprised about menstruation, and a boy shouldn't be surprised about having an erection either. God created them all as sexual beings, and their body is to be honored and protected in that process. So definitely a stimuli would cause a reaction. So simply avoid the stimuli. It's just that straightforward. So whenever there is a cause, there is also an effect. We want to teach them about their bodies. We want to teach them we want to teach them how to handle rejection. We want to teach them and constantly remind them that they are loved, they are valued, they are worthwhile. Now going into the adolescent stage, if we have done the previous stages correctly, then more than likely we would be the subject matter experts about our children's development. More than likely, they will come to us for their questions about sex and relationships. and we might deal with that a little bit more in a separate video. But one thing we want to let them know, that sex does not mean that they are loved, and also because they are in love does not mean they need to have sex. Adolescent period is a season of confusion and exploration. So we must talk to them about body image. We must have conversations about identity and constantly affirm them in their purpose and in their calling. And I do not want to end this video without talking about a special group of people that are near and dear to my heart, and that are children who we would call disabled, but I like to refer to them as differently abled. They are vulnerable populations. We have to protect them. They are also sexual beings and could be aroused, particularly when they are not able to express themselves. They could be taken advantage of. Abuse is very common when they cannot express themselves, or they are not carefully being protected, or safeguards are not in place. So let's do our part. We can still teach them something, even if at the bare minimum we can use picture charts. You can have a picture of a body, they see their body, and maybe have like little cards, like a red card, a yellow card, and a green card. And those cards, you place it on different parts of the body, so they know green means good, okay. Red is like a no-go area, nobody should be doing that or touching that area. And then yellow might be some gray areas, depending on what you're trying to communicate to that child. Wow, that was a lot. And if you're still here watching this video, thank you for hanging with me to the very end. That concludes this episode on Suspendisse. I can't wait to hear your comments and some other tips that you'd like to share in the chat. My name is Ifelua. Let's do the work of parenting together. Until next time, bye-bye.